Derrick Rose is a New York Knick yet again. Let's get into it.
Take notes.
Big Beach.
We're here.
My man, Alan,
It's different this time.
What's up, guys? Terry Trey here. Well, just Terry. We're talking Derrick Rose trade. If you're enjoying the content, guys, definitely remember to give this video a like and subscribe. So Derrick Rose is traded to the New York Knicks for Dennis Smith Jr. and Charlotte's second round pick, which we have this year. It's in the 30s. So Derrick Rose is back into New York yet again. I can't believe it happened. I'm surprised. Not really because of Tibbs. I'm surprised you look back 5 years ago, you never thought that Derrick Rose would be back here. But he has improved as a player from back then. Still not a good shooter, but much better than he used to be. In Minnesota a couple of years ago, he hit 37% from three. So he's back. Now, what does this mean for the New York Knicks? So first off, Emmanuel Quickley, which is, I think, the biggest worry of everyone. With Quickley having the kind of season he's having, being a top 5 rookie so far, clearly, Derrick Rose coming in is going to take minutes from Emmanuel Quickley. It's inevitable. Now, how many minutes and how does it pan out? We'll have to see. But the bigger thing is what happens with Elfrid Payton, because ideally it becomes Quickley and Rose, and that's your rotation for the rest of the season. Elfrid is your emergency guy, or he gets traded, right? Or he's packaged with someone. He has a no trade clause, which we know, but he can. I think Elfrid would waive it. I think he has a good enough relationship with the Knicks, and if they're not going to play him and they're like, look, it's a contract year, you're making $5 million a year. We got the trade to send you here. You're not going to play here much more. Elfrid's not going to be stupid enough to be like, no, I'll just sit on the bench and not get to play in a contract year. So I think if there is a trade, I do see Elfrid agreeing to it. I think he wants to play. He needs to play if he wants to get any money next year. Now, Derrick Rose is here now. So what does this mean for the rotation? Is Derrick Rose about to be the starter with IQ off the bench, or is it going to be IQ starting Derrick Rose off the bench? I highly doubt the latter. I think if anything, what we might see is Payton start, right? IQ come off initially, then Derrick Rose come off and start taking minutes from Rivers. But then over time, Rose maybe works his way into the starting position or on the bench. I just really think, especially getting Derrick Rose, this is a straight up upgrade over Elfrid Payton. They do not a lot of the same stuff. Derrick Rose is not as good on defense, but Derrick Rose is going to get to the rim, and he's way more reliable with his jumper than way more. It's not even a talk, really, than Elfrid Payton. So Rose is going to be out there. I think he will help the team. I think this team is clearly looking forward to playing in the play-in games, playing playoff games. They do not care about they care about development, but to them, it's off court. You're not going to see young guys get minutes just for the sake of getting minutes. And Derrick Rose is a clear move for that. Dennis Smith Jr., of course, didn't really work out here. Came over in the KP trade as the main piece. And while I think the trade is going to work out well for us, given the draft picks that are coming, I really do think if you look at what we got and how it panned out, it was really bad. I mean, it sucks that Dennis Smith Jr. was nothing like what we thought we might be getting, at least after the first couple months, because we didn't get anything really out of value out of that trade except for the cap space, which also went into Randall and all that stuff. But imagine if Dennis Smith Jr. had just turned out to be a middle-of-the-line first-round pick. Right? If he was just a decent player, we'd have gotten so much value out of that. Instead, he is shipped off to Detroit, where I think it'll be much better for him. Calm atmosphere. He's not going to have to deal with the media, with the press. He's going to be able to play on a bad team and play freely. Killian Hayes is out for a while, so I think he's going to get some. He's going to get some good minutes there and get a chance to prove himself. He's in a contract year as well, so we're going to see that happen. But Derrick Rose coming back to the Knicks, I want to see how he gels with Randall and RJ. Now, if you remember, Derrick Rose didn't really pass to Porzingis that much, but a different time, right? I think if he's coming into this team and Tibbs is going to have him play a role, he's going to want to get the most out of Derrick Rose, which Tibbs he's been killing Derrick Rose for years. So I'm just hoping Derrick can fit in well. It's going to take a little bit of time for him to adjust, but remember, he knows Tibbs. He knows Tibbs' offense. He knows Taj Gibson. He's coming in here with pedigree. From a conceptual point of view, the idea of trading a young player and a second-round pick for a 32-year-old injured former MVP seems very, old school Knicks, old school at least, in the last 20 years. But in a weird way, I feel this is different. Point guard play has been lacking severely on this team. Emmanuel Quickley there's a reason we're all clamoring for him to start. Elfrid Payton is just not a starting point guard in this league by any stretch of the imagination. He might be one of the 5 worst starting point guards in this league, and it's not about him. I'm not hating on him, even though sometimes I do. Elfrid Payton's a cool guy, but let's be real. We can see the deficiencies we have at the point guard spot. Derrick Rose coming in, he's going to give you pretty much most of what Elfrid Payton, can't even say his name. It's going to give you most of what Elfrid Payton can give you, but it's going to give you so much more in terms of leadership, in terms of just being a better offensive threat, in terms of being able to hit a jumper. Derrick Rose may not be an elite shooter at all, but he can hit an open jumper. I think he's going to help our spacing. It's funny to think of Derrick Rose helping spacing, but I definitely think he's going to help our spacing, because when you're going from Elfrid Payton, who is one of the worst spacing point guards in the league, are these starting point guards in the league, to a guy like Derrick Rose, who is at least a threat to hit a jumper, hit a 3, he's going to open things up. Will quickly lose minutes. That's the big question coming out of this. What happens with the rotation? Tibbs has shown that with the young guys, if they make a mistake, he is not hesitating to put them on the bench and have them think about it. I just did the post game, and we saw what happened to RJ today. Just did not play. He was not, like I said, he wasn't playing that well, and he maybe was a bit fatigued, but we've seen Tibbs bench RJ randomly in the 4th quarter before and give Rivers an extended leash. So lots to unpack there. Hopefully, that doesn't kill Quickly's minutes or even RJ's, because I think you could see Derrick Rose playing the 2 sometimes, maybe playing for Austin Rivers, who I think definitely needs to leave the rotation at times. He's been left out there too long. Tibbs has been trusting him way, way too much. But there's an interesting note here in the article, Woj's article about the trade that happened today, and I want to bring it up here. He says Rivers is likely to become a player that contenders seek in trade talks before the March 25th deadline. So, first off, the deadline's in 6 weeks, 5 weeks? Things are about to start going crazy in the NBA. You know how the NBA is. Every couple months, it's like the 8, 9, 10 crazy trades. Austin Rivers was signed on that incredible deal, and it was exciting, the idea of like $3.3 million for 3 years, team options in the next 2 years. There's so many, good potential things with that. He spoke a really good game coming in, and we're all rooting for him. But you think of contenders, right? A contender can add someone like Austin Rivers, who I think would be even better on a contender, where they're going to limit his role severely and only really play him when he's going off like he has. And at $3.3 million a year with 2 team options, it's an attractive deal for some contenders. So we'll see which teams are interested in him. But if we can get something out of Austin Rivers, I mean, that's the point of getting some of these vets, right? Like Marcus Morris last year. We were able to get rid of him at the deadline, and that pick became Emmanuel Quickly after a couple more trades. So hopefully, that turns into something good. But yeah, Derrick Rose is a New York Knick again. What are your expectations? Let me know in the comments below. Do you expect Derrick Rose to start? Do you think he's rotating with Quickly? Do you think he's rotating with Payton and Quickly's now playing off ball or not seeing as many minutes? Are you worried about it? I'm split between everything right now. It's kind of hard to know exactly where this is going. But Tim trusts his guys, and we did need an upgrade at the point guard position, but I've loved if it was someone younger, maybe even a Devontae Graham. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And the Knicks are going to do, Tibbs is putting together a team that can win this season. Leon Rose and Brock Aller, they're not going to mortgage our entire future for anything stupid, but they're also not going to sit by idly and not try to improve the roster. In the offseason, they were trying to get Gordon Hayward. They were willing to spend 3 years, $72 million on Gordon Hayward. There was even a rumor of the Westbrook trade, but only if we got assets. So they are not going to sit by. They've seen 25 games. They're ready to make moves. And I think we're seeing that come to fruition now. So Frank Ntilikina, who survives again. Kevin Knox, who we'll see what happens. Austin Rivers, potentially. There are some trades happening, and they will be happening over the next couple of weeks. So interesting to see what happens. But there it is. Derrick Rose is back with the New York Knicks, and we'll see what happens. I hope this does not mean the end for Quickly, because Tibbs pulls these guys when he feels like they're not doing what he wants. But with veterans, he lets them play a little bit longer and lets them rock. And it's annoying sometimes when I'm like, it's one mistake, and now these guys are playing more timid because of it. And a vet is just allowed to not be good. So we will see what happens, guys. I'm getting knock on my door. Take care. Stay safe. Peace.